Hi, everybody. My name is Garrett McGilvery. I'll be leading this session today. The topic of this session is how to network. Just that everybody knows, this session will approximately be about 20 minutes long, and then we'll have about a 10-minute Q&A afterwards. So as Brian stated, if you do have any questions, please leave them in either the WeChat group or in the chat function of this webinar, okay? All right. So today's main topic will be networking. So the first thing that you want to take into consideration when you are networking is, what is your goal? If you are wildly and randomly networking with random individuals, you might not be able to hit your goal. You want to determine what that particular goal is. And now when I mean goal is, are you an engineering student? Are you a business student? Are you a finance student? Are you a data analyst student? Are you an up-and-coming lawyer? You want to determine who it is that you actually want to meet with, and what is the purpose of meeting these people. Because if you are an individual that already has a job and you are looking to expand your network and the ability to do business in a particular form or function, that is a goal. But if you are a student that has recently graduated from university, depending on your career path and what it is that you want to do, you have to figure out what that is first. So if you are particularly lost in terms of your career path and what it is that you need to do or want to do in the future, that might be a bit of a problem. But that itself will be a goal for you. If you don't know what to do, that at least is a goal and that is defined, okay? But if you are a business analyst and somebody that wants to, say, go into the banking industry type of thing, that is something that is a goal. That at least outlines the individuals that you want to network with, okay? Now, finding these people is a different story, but at least that narrows down the types of individuals that are out there and creates the target group of individuals that you want to connect with, okay? So if I was a sales individual that was looking to network to be able to go into a banking industry, I can outline a number of managers and director-based positions of individuals that I would want to talk to in order to get into that industry. If you're an engineer, you might be looking for engineering-based individuals that are within engineering-based firms. But this at least defines the subset of individuals that you're looking for. Now, if you're an individual that doesn't know specifically what type of job that they're looking for, you can at least cast a broader net. So if you're, say, looking for something in finance, but you don't know if you want to go to real estate or technology or banking or just, consulting in general, that at least lets you define that net so that you can identify what types of individuals that you want to look out for so that you can talk to them and achieve the goal of sort of redefining your net in a narrower scope. So if you are talking to, say, 4 or 5 different people from different industries, you can at least learn more about that industry until you find one that really clicks to you, and then you can focus in and hone in on it, okay? Once you've honed in on it, then that's when you can do a little bit more elaborated networking so that you can actually find positions within that industry and people that will give you internal referrals to that industry, all right? Now, once you've defined your target group, you have to find ways to engage these people, okay? So there are multiple ways of engaging them. The first one is through digital-based communication. Now, this can be either done through 3 primary methods. The first one, always the hardest, and generally might not be the most recommended, is a cold call. So this is if you end up finding the individual's phone number online and there's listed on the website, you give them a call. This is something that you would probably want to do if you are in sales only. Otherwise, if you're not in sales, I would not recommend this. But if you are geared towards a sales-based position, this is definitely something that you'd want to focus in on, because this shows both initiative and your sales skills. Because if you're cold calling somebody, you have to have sales skills in order to maintain a conversation and to be able to communicate effectively with that individual your wants, needs, desires, and form a personal connection. So if you want to wow somebody and you're looking for a sales-based job, cold calling them might be the best particular option that you have. All right. The second base thing is through an email. Okay, so an electronic mail you send from your professional account, whether that's your Gmail account or whether it's through your university-based account. You want to make sure that your email isn't something that's inappropriate or something that isn't necessarily professional. So if it is something that's from your Gmail account, you might want it to just be your first and last name at gmail.com. Or if it's from something that's your university-based account, generally it is your first and last name.com followed with maybe a particular number if your name is duplicative. But if you find that individual's email, just send them an email asking them if they want to have a coffee chat or a phone call, whatever it might be. You just want to connect with that person, okay? So a lot of methods of finding somebody's email online is simply just looking at the company's website. A lot of companies have directories of individuals and they often list their email address. So if you find somebody in the direct field that you're looking to engage in, whether or not that they have a job posting directly online or not, but you just want to learn more about the industry itself, reach out to them, okay? So if you're looking for, say, an engineering-based position at a firm that develops and designs roads or something like that. You go to that company's website, you find somebody that might not be the CEO, but you find somebody that's in sort of a management-based position or maybe even a director level position, and you reach out to them. So that individual that you're going to be connecting with will help you out in a number of ways in the sense that they will be able to provide you with expert advice because they have been in the position for a long enough period of time. They know the industry and they might be able to help and give you referrals. Okay. So those are the key benefits when you are reaching out to somebody directly at a particular institution. Now, before we go more in detail with that, a third method of reaching out to individuals is LinkedIn. So what that means is that you need to have a solid LinkedIn profile where you have fully listed your education, fully listed your desires, put a professional level photo that's in there, as well as the number of experience that you've had, whether it's voluntary, paid, or internship. And then what you can do on LinkedIn is search people for particular companies, and these might be individuals that aren't listed on the company websites. So you can find them based on their position titles as well as the company names, and then you can send them a direct message after you've connected with them. So if you are looking for, say, somebody in a banking industry in finance, you might look for a senior manager in finance or financial analytics. You can search for a senior manager of financial analytics directly in LinkedIn and then add all the individuals at the particular banks, whether for in Canada it'd be TD, CIBC, RBC, or a number of others. You can connect directly with those individuals, and as they connect with you back, you can send them a direct message. And that direct message is a way for you to engage with them, whether it be a coffee chat or a cold call or a conversation of whatever merit that you want or feel comfortable with having, okay? So those are the three really key methods, whether it's a cold call, a direct email if you're able to find it, or thirdly, a LinkedIn message. Those are the three best methods of connecting with an individual at a particular firm. Now, the best thing that you can do when you are looking to network is to make action. So what that means is that you aren't afraid of making a mistake. It's that you are taking that initiative to reach out to that individual. A lot of soft skills one of the number one soft skills that employers are looking for is initiative. So initiative is when you make an action without anybody requesting it. So when you are reaching out to an individual through those three methods that I described in the previous slide, you are taking initiative in your job searching plan so that you are reaching out to the person directly without any form of prior request from that individual. So that demonstrates a lot of power, a lot of initiative, and a lot of integrity from the individual that is reaching out coldly because they might be rejected. So that shows both courage and initiative to an individual at a particular firm so that you can learn and see if you can form a personal connection with the individual, as well as see if they have a particular job opening at the firm. because initiative is something that everybody desires, but it is very hard to show on paper in your resume, because you can state that you have initiative, but unless you've started your own podcast or started your own company or developed a new tool as a software engineer or something like that, it is really hard to demonstrate. But if you're reaching out to somebody cold that you don't know, that's a stranger, that directly shows that you have the initiative. And that is a #1 priority skill for basically any job that's out there, whether you're an engineer, a software analyst, a finance analyst, a data analyst, whatever it might be. Initiative is a very powerful thing because not a lot of people have it, and a lot of people are scared and afraid of reaching out to individuals. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it is something that is hard to come by. And if you do it, that just shows, puts you leagues ahead of anybody else that is looking for a job within that company. Now, let's say you have taken that initiative, you have reached out to individuals, whether it be LinkedIn, cold call, or through email. The next best thing is that you have to be prepared, okay? So whether this is you are meeting them, let's say you're meeting somebody for a coffee chat. So you've reached out to them on LinkedIn because you're looking for a job in banking. You want to have business cards and you want to have your resume prepared, okay? These are the key things that you need to have ready on standby when you are going to meet somebody, because your primary objective is what? It's to get a job in a particular field, okay? Or it's to learn about a particular field so that you can make a more educated decision when you are looking for your job. And now a lot of people generally don't have business cards because, you're not employed by a company and you're not, somebody hasn't made them for you. But a lot of universities have their own business card templates, and honestly, you can even print them at home. Nobody cares how fancy the business card is or, how elaborate it is or how well designed it is. But if you utilize a template from your school and print it off at home from something that you get from sort of the Office Depot or Staples type of thing, it goes leagues ahead because you're leaving them a little bit of a note behind, which gives your communication numbers, such as your phone number or your email or however other method that you wish for them to communicate with you, as sort of a leave behind type of thing. Because once you've had that great meeting with somebody and you reach out to them and you've made that personal connection, you want to leave a business card behind so that they know exactly how to connect with you. And then it's something that they can reference because they're going to put it on their desk and they're going to notice it later. And they're going to see it and they're going to know, like, oh yeah, I met up with Brian or something like that. And they're going to reach out to you and then follow up with your discussion, okay? Same with your resume. You want to have your resume prepared, ready to go, and fully vetted by, a number of your friends, edited, everything like that, so that it is a perfect resume for the type of job that you're looking for. Because once you've developed a resume that is perfect for the job role that you're looking for, you're going to know exactly what types of skills are required for that job position. So when you are indeed talking to somebody from that particular industry, you know exactly what skills to bring up and you know how to demonstrate them in terms of your past experience, as well as your education, internships, volunteer experience, whatever it might be. You know the exact key points to bring up so that it'll make you look like you're the most professional candidate for the particular role that you're looking for. So even if it is just a regular old coffee chat, you do want to be able to bring up the skills that are necessary for the type of job that you want. Because even when you're talking to them about the different types of skills that they might have, you can often bring up the types of skills that you have, how to make them better, or how to sort of bridge the gap from where you are now to where they are right now. Because you might be talking to a person that's in a manager-based role, so you can talk to them about how they develop their skills. Because in, let's say, analytics, because we're going back to that finance analyst that's looking to go into a bank. So they develop their finance skills by doing what? Because finance-based skills are important for a finance analyst-based role. Because if you're developing a resume, you are looking at the different types of job applications that are out there and honing in on the skills that are necessary in order to fulfill that role. So once you define those skills through your resume, because you're looking at all these job applications, you can hone in on those types of skills when you're talking to that person face to face. And you can ask curious questions on how they got to where they are, or you can just simply talk about, the types of skills that you do have and the types of experiences that you have had. So that's the importance of being prepared for an interview, for a coffee chat that you're going for, whether it be a cold call coffee chat or whatever it might be. It's just being prepared for that connection. Now, being engaging. Okay, so when you are having that coffee chat or whether you're having that cold call, you have to be a bit of a magnet. Okay, hence why I've put a magnet photo up here. You have to be an individual that people want to be able to connect with. Okay, because when you are going to a coffee chat or having a cold call with somebody, you don't want to come off as being robotic. You don't want to come off as being rude, because you want to come off as being a normal, happy, interesting person, okay? Because the main point of having this coffee chat and having these cold calls with individuals is to form some level of personal connection. Now, this might seem a bit like dating in the sense that when you have your first connection with a stranger, you want to be able to show bits of yourself so that that person would find you interesting and then show some of their own personality to you. And that's how you form a personal connection with the person, so that then it is more comfortable for you to ask for a referral to a position within their company or a referral to a person outside of their company that might be looking for somebody in that role. Because if you're an individual that is interesting, engaging, and able to make a personal connection with somebody, they will be more willing to help you. Okay, this might be a bit more of a psychological play, but if you are able to make that personal connection with somebody, whether it is through, whatever it is you might do, because you might be somebody that might be into martial arts, you might be into, traveling, you might be into eating really fine food, whatever it might be, but you want to work some of those elements into the conversation that you're having so that you can form that personal bond. Because you might be talking to somebody that shares the exact same interests as you, and you might not know it, but you're only going to know it if you share those interests with them. Now, this isn't just being, very direct with your particular interests. You want to be a bit subtle with this. So you want to be very professional at the beginning, but talk a bit about their day, talk a bit about their weekend, talk a bit about their plans. They might tell you that they're going for a hike in a mountain that you recently frequented. So then you can join in the conversation of that, because then you might both enjoy going on hikes, type of stuff. That's how you form that personal bond, which then you're able to utilize and leverage later for when you're both looking for a job within their firm or a referral outside of their firm into other individuals within that person's particular network. Because think about it yourself. If you are meeting somebody that is very dry, very professional, and very, standoffish, you might not be as open to helping that individual because you might not feel any form of connection. You might not see them as somebody that you could be friends with. So that's why it's very important to think about it from the other person's perspective, where it's like, if you're able to make even the slight bit of jump towards the friendship zone, then they're going to be more willing to help you. They're going to be more open to you in terms of like whether it's direct communication towards other things that they're interested in or other professional based instances in terms of, jobs within their firm or skills that they might recommend you having, or, referrals within their own particular network. Now, the next big thing I would say is to be generous. Okay. So what that means is that when you are looking to engage other individuals, when you are looking to network with people, you want to be a giver, okay? Because it is difficult to form a personal connection with somebody, as I mentioned in my previous slide, but you have to be that person that bridges that gap. You have to be the one that takes the risk in terms of being more of more giving in terms of whatever things that you've done in your particular day or whatever your plans that you have for your weekend. You can't wait for the person to make that personal connection with you. You have to be that person that makes that personal connection. You have to almost force it in some form or way by oversharing potentially on certain things that you may be interested in, or trying to force information out of them and trying to really bridge that gap, even if the gap might be a little bit further, in the sense that while you might go like going on long hikes, or you might enjoy esports or something like that, and they enjoy traditional sports, but you can at least sort of talk about those different types of elements in order to sort of start trying to form a bit of a personal bond with the person, because you can't wait for that person to try to form that bond with you, because you are also a stranger to them. You've reached out to them, you've shown action, you've tried to form that bond with them, which is all very great and positive things, but you got to really reach out, and you really got to keep that relationship going and helping them. And whether that means you potentially even referring a connection to them because it might help and impact their business, that only makes you more positive and more likable in their eyes. Because as you're going out and networking with a number of people, you might meet somebody that's a perfect connection for somebody else in order for them to do business together. Whether they start talking about a difficult project and they're looking for somebody at a particular firm, or they're looking to sign up an environmental consultant or something like that, and you might have already met a few environmental consultants. That's you trying to bridge that gap for them, and that's proving you to be a valuable asset to them, which only makes you more positive in their eyes, so that they're more prone to help you. All right. Now, just a little extended version of this: when you do have a job and you have ended up, successfully networking, you've got a job, you got a career, when other individuals reach out to you, you also have to give, okay? Because you've reached out, a number of people have, agreed to have coffee chats with you, have cold calls, whatever it might be. You're going to be in the same position as them in, like, say, 3 to 4 years type of thing. You're going to have people reaching out to you. You also got to complete that circle, and you got to be generous as well, because you know how difficult it is in order to actually network with people. So you got to also give back to that circle, so that it keeps perpetuating, and then people keep, networking, moving forward, and, forming those personal bonds with strangers so that they can help them in business. Now, a key thing is that you got to be yourself, because when you're networking, you can't be fake. People can see through that pretty quickly and pretty easily. And it's okay to be not the traditional norm for a particular job. So even if you're applying for, say, a finance-based job, say financial sales, let's say financial sales, even if you're particularly introverted, which might not be the general norm for that type of position, that's okay, because that's something that you want to do, but you have special skills associated with your introversion versus those that are extroverted. You're not the traditional norm for the job, but you know what? You might have more analytical abilities. You might have more secondary soft skills. You might have better negotiating skills, or even listening skills, because you're more prone to listen than somebody that might be extroverted that wants to talk the whole time. That's okay. You want to pick up on those skills, and you want to be able to communicate them to the people that you're talking to. And not all jobs are going to work for you, and not all squares are going to fit your box, okay? But you got to be true to yourself. You got to be true to the skills that you have, so that you can leverage them and push them forward and attract the people that you attract, okay? Because not everybody is going to be friends with everybody else, and that's fine. But as long as you keep putting yourself out there and reaching out to new people, you're going to find people that meet that sliver of the population that really jives with you, that really fits. And those are the people that you're going to keep in your career path and your network for the rest of your life, that might help you years to come. Because the connection that you make now might not result in a job tomorrow, but it might result in a job in 10 years. You never know. It might be an opportunity that you haven't seen before, that nobody ever saw before, that resulted in something from you did 10 years earlier. All right. So by being yourself and by being true to who you are, you're going to attract the right type of people that are going to fit your personality mold and help you from, whether it's the job today or it's the job tomorrow. And Brian, that concludes everything for the webinar presently.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. That was very informative. And we know that covers a lot of questions from the group. But we do have a couple questions given the time limit here. We might not be able to answer everybody's questions. So before we get into the questions, just want to say, if you many of you have joined the session without registration because we kind of open this to the public. But if you want to join the future sessions, please RSVP, sign up through our email links or our article in WeChat. So let's so one question I actually got very interested in myself was that so you talked about a lot about coffee chat and networking, but what would you suggest people do, especially for international students who lack enough connections here? What would you suggest them do as a first step to set up a coffee chat?
So the best thing in order to set up a coffee chat is honestly LinkedIn is probably one of the safest, easiest, and best methods. And in reality, it's not just to reach out to one individual and then set up a coffee chat and then wait. You want to take the game by numbers and really reach out to maybe like 10 to 20 individuals that you might want to reach out to and reach out to all of them. Okay? Because not all of them are going to get back to you because some of them have busy lives. Some of them might be on vacation. You never know. So it's just reaching out to as many people as you possibly can in order to set up those coffee chats. Now, as an international student, it might be difficult because whether it's a language barrier or it's, a lack of experience on your front, it's okay. You just got to do it because nobody gets good at doing something unless they do it many times and fail a number of times. So once you get over that hurdle of, the fact that it's scary, as well as the fact that it might not be something that you're good at, and that's to the introverts out here, where it's, reaching out to people cold might be the hardest thing you might ever do, but it pays dividends in the future, and it gives you a very valuable skill that you're only going to learn by doing, which is, reaching out and selling yourself and really building that network. And that's going to help you, for the next 10, 20, 30 years of your career.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I really agree with you, Garrett, on one of the points, which is you just got to do it. Like, international student or not, you just have to take the initiative and do it. Like, I remember after I graduated directly from MBA, I was my second year in Canada. Like as Gary said, you just have to email or send a message to 20, 30 people on LinkedIn. And that's what I did. So hopefully that answers the question. We have an industry-specific question from one of our members asking about the recruiting agencies. So this member kind of wants to know, is the recruiting agency or headhunter companies, are those companies kind of like how are those developed in Canada? Like, are they kind of popular industries, and how do people get in there, especially for international students? What kind of qualities do people have to build to get into those industries?
So you mean how to become a headhunter?
Sort of, yes.
Brian? Okay, so how to become an HR professional that mainly deals in headhunting.
Yeah.
Okay. So the number one way for you to become a headhunter in Canada is to develop your base of network. And that has to be a very specialized network because it has to depend on what it is that you're trying to build, because there are a lot of different types of jobs out there. There's a lot of different types of industries. So if you're, let's say, trying to be a headhunter for the banking industry, you want to reach out to basically everybody that's a manager level or higher and try to arrange some form of meeting with them, and then just get to know them. Okay, because that's developing your bank of individuals that you get to call upon when you have a job listing and or posting available to you. Because when you're a headhunter, you get paid generally on commission, which it is generally a percentage of the salary of the individual role that you're trying to fill. So if the role is, say, $100,000 annual salary, and the commission rate may be 20% type of thing. So you're only going to get paid 20 grand if you're able to fill this role, but you're not getting anything unless you actually fill that role. So in order to fill that role, you need to have a number of finance and banking professionals on hand that you've already pre-screened and talked to be able to fill that particular role. So getting into that job, you need to be able to build that pool of quality candidates so that you can reach out to them whenever those postings come up. So honestly, when I was saying that you want to reach out to 20, 30 people type of thing, you might want to reach out to maybe even more than 100 on like sort of a weekly basis so that you can just really build that pipeline of individuals that you know. And you want to document all their skills and all their interests and stuff like that, because you're approaching them from a different angle, because you're not approaching them to get a job. You're approaching them to basically help them get a job by helping them get into particular roles and stuff like that. So you want to really like see where they want to go, what their motivations are, and what their skills are. Even getting their resume and then keeping it on hand.
Perfect. Thank you for the answer. And I know I just want to add on to that. And I know sometimes people will think, okay, it's really hard to get into industry, especially I know you don't see a lot of people, a lot of international students in the HR industry or field, but there's never a never. So it all depends on how you work on your skills, how you work on your network, like Gary said. There's always a chance for you to get in those jobs, those fields. Okay, so just you got to do it. And a couple people have asked the question about follow-ups, Garrett.
Yeah.
So coffee chat follow-ups or events follow-ups. I guess if you could share your thoughts in general, how we can actually follow up with people, which is a very important step of the whole process.
So you're saying that, say you've reached out to them, you've had a coffee chat, and then you want to follow up now.
Yeah, it could be a coffee chat, could be like a networking event,
Yep.
and you get a business card, but what to do next?
Yeah, so that's why it's really important for you to define what your goal is, because if your goal is to simply determine what type of job that you might want to go into, or whether it is that you actually want to go into a job in a particular field, such as banking. I keep bringing it back to banking because I'm more familiar with that one. But if you are in fact looking for a job in banking, you want to be direct with your follow-up. You want to say exactly what it is that you want. So in the sense that, say you meet somebody in a marketing-based role, and they might not really fit the type of job that you're looking for, but you can ask them. You can directly ask them if they know anybody in the finance sphere that they can refer you to, type of thing. And again, you don't get what you don't ask for. So it's like you got to really ask for the things that you really want. So by meeting that individual, even though in marketing, they could still be a very valuable asset because they might be best friends with somebody that's the director of finance at the firm as well. So by asking them if they can refer you to anybody, they'll just refer you directly to their best friend, and then you can have a coffee chat with them as well. So those internal referrals are incredibly important. And by asking directly, like that, puts the onus on the person. If you've been able to form an engaging and personal connection with that person, they're going to want to help you because you're a student. Everybody knows that it's really tough to be a student that's looking for a job for their first time. So they're going to try to help you as much as they can. And they're going to refer you to the people that they think that might be able to help you. And then that just perpetuates that networking cycle, because then you've met their best friend at the firm as well. And then that person might potentially have a job, or they might even refer you to another person that might even have a potential job. So whether it is you're looking for a particular job in that company or just looking for individuals in that field, following up with them via their email or even via text message, stuff like that, it's totally acceptable. And you want to just be direct with your messaging based on what it is your goal is and what it is that you want. And in order to sort of, follow up with that cycle, that's why I stress the importance of having business cards, because any professional in any of these particular firms, even the ones that are listed on sort of the slideshow right now, everybody's going to have a business card. And by you just simply handing out your own business card, they're going to, on instinct, give you their personal business card. So while you may have messaged them on LinkedIn initially in order to get that coffee chat, you now have their business email. So you want to email that directly so that you can, further perpetuate the bond that you have with them in terms of personal connection, and, do that direct based follow-up.
That's great. And I just want to add on that. I hope that answers the question of this member. But basically, and at the end of the day, it all depends on what you're comfortable with. And if you can combine Garrett's comments with yourself, as Garrett said before, be yourself. And to me, when I try to start my networking, reach out to people, I always found, okay, I was a little not shy. I was a little afraid of being too direct. But at least try to position yourself as the person who's graduating, who's trying to learn about the industry, and getting the first step, taking the first step is always very important. So yeah, so I think it's about 9:45 right now. I don't think we have enough time for more questions. And this was a very very informational, a very informative session, and I hope everybody found this useful. And again, at the bottom of the page, if you can see, if you don't want to miss the next session, make sure you sign up our community form, which is the one second to the left. And if you want to book a session with us to learn about our career coaching with Garrett, you can scan the code at the bottom too, or book a meeting if you're still applying to schools with us to understand how we can help you. But hopefully this is helpful to most of you. And we will also be sharing a lot more updates and quick topics in our WeChat group. And please, be proactive, share your thoughts, ask your question. As Gary said, just do it, take the steps. Okay, and that's everything. Thank you, Garrett, and thank you everyone for joining the session.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, have a good night.